Straight ahead at noon, an arrest in connection to the devastating wildfires threatening Spokane, and what we know about the suspect's criminal history. Plus,
wildfires across the region right now producing poor air quality across much of the Pacific Northwest. We've got details on this, plus the heat in our forecast.
Then a car crashing into a South Portland building leads police to open a homicide investigation. And later, it's primary election day in Washington. A look at what's on the ballot in Southwest Washington and where you can find the results as they come in. And thank you for joining us. I'm Tim Gordon. Our top story here at noon: smoke from the fires burning across the Northwest has really settled into the valley, prompting air quality alerts and health concerns. The orange dots on your screen represent air quality that's unhealthy for sensitive groups. Red is unhealthy for anyone, and that deep crimson, almost brown, which you can see by the Mount Hood National Forest, is hazardous. Let's get right to Chris McGinnis now for a closer look at the smoke forecast. Chris.
And that sensor that you pointed out in the Mount Hood National Forest, obviously immediately downwind of the grasshopper fire, which is the primary pollutant for us in the Portland-Vancouver metro area and the Willamette Valley today. So let me go ahead and show you the satellite imagery. This is almost all smoke across Oregon and Washington in that really, really thick area of gray here on the map is the wildfire smoke from the grasshopper fire. The prevailing wind has been from the east, blowing it up and over Mount Hood and into the northern Willamette Valley. And that tail actually extends right over the heart of the Portland-Vancouver metro areas. So we are unfortunately enduring some pretty poor air quality out there as a result of that. Some of that wildfire smoke extends all the way to the Oregon coast. This is the live look right now in Lincoln City, where you can barely make out Cascade Head in the distance. That is not cloud cover, that's smoke. It's quite warm at the coast right now at 71. Meanwhile, from Oregon's Veterans Home in the Dalles, it's kind of tough to see the river down below where it's currently 77. Again, the observation reporting cloudy. That's wildfire smoke. So the air quality advisory continues here up and down the I-5 corridor through the day today through noon tomorrow. I do think we'll see some improvement in the air quality as we go into Thursday, but not until then. Meanwhile, the live look from our Rose City Sky Camera tells the story. It's currently 76 degrees. One of the other issues that smoke is creating for us is we were supposed to have a really hot day. And in some cases, folks that don't have the really dense smoke are well on their way to a hot day. It's 81 degrees in Hillsborough, where the smoke is obviously a little thinner. We get down to the south. Look at the temperature contrast here between Portland and Salem. Salem's at 80, Dallas is at 84. Locations in the central and southern Willamette Valley are probably well on their way into the 90s today. So we have the weather impact alert again for smoky air and or temperatures in the 90s. If you don't have the really thick smoke, your temperatures will be higher today. You need to do what you can to stay hydrated. And if you are working or spending time outside today, wear a mask as well. You don't want to be breathing in that particulate. Tim, more on this coming up in a bit.
All right, Chris, thank you. And in case you missed it, Oregon has now surpassed the record for the most acres burned during a wildfire season. Here we are just into August. Fire officials are estimating more than 2 million acres burned so far this year. That's the size of 22 Portlands put together. Right now, there are more than 50 active fires in the state. The closest major fire to Portland is the Grasshopper Fire Chris was just talking about, burning southeast of Mount Hood. Just this morning, Mount Hood Meadows posted this to their Instagram page, warning that level 3 go now evacuation orders are in effect for Mount Hood Meadows. They ask everyone to stay away so fire crews can do their jobs. And as of last check, the Grasshopper Fire has burned nearly 35,000 acres. On its southern end, near the Pine Hollow area, nearly 200 homes were in harm's way. Luckily, fire officials say no homes have been lost, but weather conditions, especially the wind, are a big concern for the crews.
We have Mount Hood, which is a big giant rock, and the wind changes as it goes around and makes an eddy. And so as that wind comes around, we might have wind changes. So when we think we're going to have wind coming from the west, it funnels back in and it changes it, and it brings it back into us.
Crews were able to get some containment lines around the fire. Right now it's reported at just under 20% contained. Meanwhile, authorities in Washington have arrested a man in connection with the most destructive wildfire burning in Spokane. The suspect, you see here, 37-year-old Aaron Farnacci, is accused of arson for intentionally starting what became the Old Trails fire. Hundreds of structures, including many homes, have burned in that area. Witnesses told police they saw Farnacci bending down in a grassy area on Saturday. Then they saw smoke coming from that same area. Emotions were running high in Spokane last night as people learned about the arrest.
Kids are probably gonna have to go to counseling for dealing with all that with PTSD. Like, our daughter has anxiety, man, and to find out that like somebody started that, like, there's a lot of families. A teacher that I work with right behind my house lost everything that he had, including his pets, and like to know that that all could have been avoided is heartbreaking, man.
Sure is. Court records show Farnacci was previously convicted of manslaughter in Arizona. The Old Trails fires, one of 3 burning in and around Spokane. Collectively, they have burned more than 10,000 acres and are still uncontained. Thousands of people remain under evacuation orders. We're going to hear from some of the victims of these fires now grappling with losing everything. That's ahead in our next half hour. Well, officials in Clark County say their 911 center is getting a ton of calls from people experiencing medical problems because of the poor air quality. The Department of Environmental Quality says there's really no safe amount of wildfire smoke to breathe in. That means for people with pre-existing conditions, young kids and older adults, it's best to stay indoors. But what about smoke coming into your house? Well, the Energy Trust of Oregon says there are a few things to keep that smoke out.
One of the first things that you can do is just sealing up all the little gaps and cracks around your house. Think your windows, your drafty doors, your vents.
And if you use a window air conditioner, experts say to make sure the outdoor damper is closed. And for larger systems, switch to fan-only mode to keep clean air inside. You may need to replace your filters more often during wildfire season as well. And use an air purifier if you can. Energy Trust of Oregon is offering discounts and free shipping on some air purifiers. We have a link to that in an article at KGW.com. With resources stretched thin and a growing need across Oregon and Washington, we're activating our Northwest Response Fund for those who need help. So please, if you can donate by scanning that QR code on your screen, it sure would be very helpful. Your donations go directly to the American Red Cross to help those impacted by wildfires in eastern Washington, Spokane area, and throughout Oregon as well. And if you want to donate in person, just visit any local U.S. bank branch. We also have a link to the fund on KGW.com. And do stay with KGW as we track the ongoing wildfire emergency across the Pacific Northwest. You can find the latest anytime on air, on KGW.com, or on our free streaming apps. Well, a homicide investigation continues along Macadam Avenue in Portland's South Waterfront, right across the street from the ice facility. The man was shot in his car, but investigators tell us there's no connection with the ice building. Libby Dowsett has been live along South Bancroft Road near the site of this shooting all morning long. Libby, what are you seeing there now?
Well, there's been lots of changes, Tim. First off, the crime tape all around the neighborhood has been taken down. It's just in this area right in front of the building where the car crashed and the ice building. We have a closer look now at where the car crashed into the Gridworks Racing building on the corner of South Moody and Bancroft. It just happens to be across the street from the ice building, no relation. Police say one of their sergeants was patrolling the area around 4:10 this morning when he found the vehicle crashed into the building. Investigators believe the unconscious man inside the car had just been shot multiple times about 20 to 30 yards up the hill at South Macadam and Bancroft. Here's what Mike Benner from the Portland Police Bureau says happened.
Our sergeant is patrolling the area, on routine patrol, sees the vehicle crashed. About that same time, shots fired calls are coming into 911, and we're piecing it together. Again, it looks like this individual was shot while in his vehicle at the intersection of Macadam and Bancroft. Our suspect takes off in a vehicle they were traveling in, and our victim rolls down the hill and crashes into the building.
And police say they pulled him out of the window of the car, breaking that glass, and tried life-saving measures that were unsuccessful. He died here at the scene. Now, we talked to a neighbor in the apartments nearby, and she said she heard about 6 shots just after 4 this morning and another 2 about 25 seconds later. So it appears there are some witnesses right here in these apartments that police may be talking to as they canvass the area today. Back to you, Tim.
All right, Libby, thank you. And in Gresham, at least 2 people were injured in an early morning shooting. Police say it happened along Southeast 185th Avenue just before 1 a.m. When they got there, officers say they found 2 people had been shot. Both were taken to the hospital. One was released while the other remains in critical condition. The investigation is ongoing. So far, no arrests have been made. Well, today is Washington's primary election, and if you haven't registered to vote, you can still go get registered and vote in person at your county elections office. Mail-in ballots need to be dropped off in an official drop box by 8 p.m. tonight. On the ballot is one of the nation's most closely watched congressional races. 9 candidates are running for Washington's 3rd congressional district. The top 2 candidates will advance to November's general election. 2 are leading the pack. That's Republican State Senator John Braun and Democratic incumbent Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez. Elsewhere in the county, Fire District 10 is asking voters to approve a $15.2 million bond for a new fire station in Amboy. The bond would cost 45 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. So if you own a house that's worth $650,000, that would cost you about $292 a year. We'll have results as soon as they start coming in on air and on KGW.com.